Hey guys, this is Cam from 15, back out with another video for you guys. I'm back with another Teasing Master Takage-san episode review for you guys. Again, like I said last week, progress was made. And this week, even more progress has been made. Yes. The romance is blooming between our young master Nishikata and our young mistress Takage. Yes, it's coming together quite nicely, if I might ask myself. So, yes. Now, quick thing I want to say real quick. Before I say anything. Last week, obviously, the episode with the way it started off, I was completely oblivious. A comment section as well as watching another video about that part made me open my eyes. Now, if you watched my review from last week, you're probably scratching your head like, does this guy not get what he's freaking watching? But no, after some reflection, after a few hours after I watched the episode, I watched a clip of it, and I saw one in the comment section and everything, and I saw, guess what? If you do not know very much about the beginning scene, especially if you're an anime only, I know people read the manga and stuff like that, understand what that reference at the start of the episode was, but if you're an anime only and you still don't know, essentially, the first part of the episode with that one guy and that one girl that looks similarly to Takage, the fact is, that girl right there is the daughter of our boy Nishikata and our girl Takage, because we see an older Takage doing the laundry and everything, which I don't know why I didn't see that from the start. Now, their daughter's name is Chi, and from what I hear, there's also a series centered around Chi. The thing is that I love the fact that she looks like Takage, but she clearly has the mannerisms and the attitude and the characteristics of Nishikata, which is a nice infusion of both the personalities of Takage and Nishikata. I thought that was dope. And that, like I said, seeing that, maybe that potentially opens the door to after, maybe Teasing Master Takage-san's over and they're done doing this. Maybe they'll do a series about their daughter Chi. Now, I hear there's a manga version of the events that cover Chi, and we see what happens with Nishikata and Takage. We see Takage's looks to be a housewife and everything. I don't know what Nishikata does in the future. I did, I guess, look, and some people say apparently Nishikata's like some sort of coach. He's a pretty strong, buff dude. I haven't seen what he looks like in the future, but okay, that's actually pretty dope. Now, would you consider this a spoiler if you're like, oh, that's their daughter and stuff like that? What are you gonna tell us about that? Listen, it's obvious that these two characters are gonna get together, so it's not really a spoiler, and especially the fact that the anime literally said, well, here you go. That's cool. I thought that was pretty dope, that they showed the future daughter of Nishikata and Takage, and it makes it even cooler to see just the build-up romance to when we're gonna find out, okay, who's gonna ask who out, who's gonna essentially confess to who. But in this episode, Takage kind of confesses to Nishikata. But let's get into this week's episode. It's episode 6. So obviously this episode is truly centered around just a cultural festival that they were starting up in the last episode, but truly it's happening here. Now, another little storyline going on in this episode was the fact that there was this one girl in Nishikata and Takage's class that is doing the play with them, but she's like into this other dude, and we later find out that she tells this dude that she's into, she likes that I'm having this play and everything, and this guy's like, yeah, we're having a cafe and everything, and she's like, oh, can I stop by? And he's like, nah, you don't have to, and stuff like that. Listen, it's fine, I gotta go work on it. And she's just like, I thought he'd be happy to frickin' having me come over there. But we later find out the day of the cultural festival, she ends up going to the cafe, and it's actually a maid cafe, and even the guys are wearing maid cafe outfits, or wearing the maid outfits, and she ends up laughing. That's kind of the subplot here. I thought it was cute and adorable, I will say that. So yeah. But anyways, the main three plots of this episode is the fact that the first part covers the fact that obviously the play is set. They're rehearsing their lines in their class. Nishikata is doing this. We see Takage. Well, we see Nishikata in his freaking dumpling costume, and then we see Takage in her princess dress. And my guy Nishikata was like, "Oh Lord, help me," because he sees Takage and he is automatically entranced. He is like, "Oh shit, she's actually cute," which I thought it was so adorable. See, this show reminds you of the time when you have your crush, essentially, or a girl, or even guy you like. For my lady people who are out there, and you just see them looking very handsome or very beautiful, and you're like, whoa, okay, now I know why I like this person, and stuff like that, and everything. I thought that was so funny and adorable because it made Nishikata stumble on his lines and even forget them because he was too entranced with how beautiful Takage was looking. And it's funny because one of the girls is like, "You're not saying it right. You gotta say these lines," and stuff like that. We later find out after time's passed, he asked Takage, "Hey, can we meet up on top of the roof? Because he has an idea to practice his lines and everything." And stuff like that. Because obviously, what is it? I forgot the one girl's name, but she got on Nishikata for forgetting his lines. Now, leading up to him going up to the top of the roof, he overhears these two girls talking about some dude confessing to her or something like that, or asking her out. And that's when he's like, "What if Takage thinks I'm going to be asking her out? It would be the craziest thing." And he gets these envisionings of what would happen if, that were to happen and stuff like that. And he's like, "No, I'm just going to walk in cool and say, hey, just let's walk through our lines together," and stuff like that. Now, his little script falls out of his back pocket, and he comes in and talks to Takage, and Takage is like, "What, you have something to say?" And he's all flustered and everything, and he forgets what he's supposed to say. And then Takage is like, "Well, it seems like I'm guessing we had the same idea." And he's like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" He's like, and he's thinking like she's gonna ask him something different, but that's when Takage asks, "Oh, did you want to practice her lines? Because clearly, old girl got on you very much about it." Now, it was funny. He was like, "Wait, really?" And she's like, "Yeah, do you want to practice your lines? Unless you were willing to ask me something else, or unless you were willing to tell me something else." And he's like, No, we can practice on our lines and stuff like that." So, I thought that was cute, adorable. It reminds me of the back of the time when I was in elementary school, when we had these specialized plays. Now, I never did a main role because I never wanted to freaking do that stuff, and plus I don't like being the center of attention and stuff like that. I'm kind of more of a closed in person, but I digress. Anyways, what happens in the next scene is it's the day of the cultural festival, and the second part covers this haunted house thing. Now, essentially Nishikata's got the grand idea like, "Oh, this haunted house, I can find a way to get me to win and have Takage get afraid." So Takage confronts him and everything. And the one thing we find out here is Nishikata doesn't like scary things, which is hilarious. Now, obviously Takage is like, "What are you doing here?" She's like, "Oh, a haunted house." Now, I already knew from this jump that Takage probably wanted to go in this haunted house with Nishikata. Nishikata at this point is too dumb or dull to realize this, and stuff like that. And he's like, "Let's make a competition. The person who makes it the fastest out of the haunted house is the winner," and stuff like that. And Takage's like, "Okay, sure, fine." So literally, she goes up first, and essentially, Nishikata's like, "I wonder if she's all right," and everything and stuff like that. But then lo and behold, she comes out a few minutes later, or a few seconds later, 43 seconds, she went in and get out. And before Nishikata goes in, she's like, oh yes, just to let you know, apparently, you know, amongst the fake monsters, there's actually one real monster. And if he taps you on the shoulder 4 times, then you'll be stuck there forever. So it already gets freaking Nishikata afraid of the fact, like, oh shoot, what the hell? And I'm like, bro, you know she's playing you, my guy. You know she's playing you. Anyways, he sets off. Takage's like, wait a second, because she hadn't started the timer yet. And he ends up getting all scared and everything, and he's afraid and everything because all these other people are scaring him. And all of a sudden, he feels the person tapping his shoulder, and he's like, and it gets to the third time, he's like, fourth time, I'm gonna be stuck in here. And I'm like, oh my god, this dude really believed Takage after all this time. He turns around, it's Takage, and Takage is like, I didn't get a chance to even start the timer. You ran off. And anyways, I wanted to go with you together and stuff like that. And he's like, are you serious right now? Because he ends up losing and stuff like that. So it's funny. And then obviously the last part of the episode was probably the best part of this episode this week, as the fact that it's the play. The one thing I found hilarious about this play is the fact they cut over to the teacher a few times, and the teacher is actually like, he's actually like into this play. Like, you see at one part he starts laughing at a certain part, and then at the end, when this is all over with the moment between Takage and Nishikata, this man's bawling his eyes out, and I'm like, this teacher is a goat, man. I'm like, good god, he really is invested in this class. I love it. I find it so hilarious. But anyways, what happens is, you know, the play's going on. Nishikata does his part. He thinking he's done. And his friend that's playing the pig guy, or the pig prince, he ended up actually participating in this freaking eating contest. And I guess he overstuffed himself and he was not feeling too good. So, you know, it comes to the point he's like, hey, Nishikata, can you do a boy a favor? And stuff like that. And Nishikata actually wears the costume. Now, we're in the part of the play where essentially Takage, because it's like a thing on Romeo and Juliet. You know, Romeo or Juliet was willing to kill herself because she thought something happened to Romeo and stuff like that. And we're getting to that part. She ends up tripping on one of these acorns that was just left over that they forgot to pick up. And it's looking like she's going to fall and everything and really hurt herself. We see Nishikata come on in, save her like the princess she is. Which was hilarious, which was very cute and very adorable. But at the same time, as he's doing this, his pig mask falls off. So Takage sees that's Nishikata. The other girls who are kind of the producers of this, like the directors, are like, what the hell is Nishikata doing here? And everything. So Nishikata catches Takage, and essentially they're both looking at each other, and he's looking at her. He's like, oh shit, what the hell do I say? Because he's so stunned, he forgot his lines. So he improvised, and he's like, oh, well, you see, you know, you thought I got turned into a ham, but I actually got turned back into my human self, and this is what I really look like, and everything. And he's like, I've come here for you, princess, you know, and stuff like that. And then this is when we get, I guess you can say, a slight confession from Takage about how she feels about our boy Nishikata. And essentially she says, ever since we met in the springtime, you know, you've been my one and only Prince Charming. And the thing is, during this line before she said that last statement, Nishikata's like, wait, last spring? And she gives him a big hug. He's flustered beyond belief. And I'm like, my guy's getting confessed to and a hug from this girl. Oh my goodness, this guy is crazy. Lucky. And that's when it leads into the freaking teacher crying his eyes out. I'm like, this teacher's hilarious. It's cute. It's adorable. So then we get a aftermath. We essentially get an epilogue to this play. And all the class are in the karaoke room. We see in all these damn slice of life animes and stuff like that. And essentially, we find out that because Nishikata asked Takage, like, wait, in the play, the princess and the prince met in the fall. Why did you say spring and everything? And, you know, and stuff like that. And Takage is like, well, that's when we first met, right? And that's when, you know, eventually the girls are like, hey, Takage, come do this song for us. And Nishikata's like, oh my goodness. Now, I don't know if Nishikata picked this up at the standpoint already. Now, the fact that he has an idea to that, the fact that Takage likes him now romantically. But we'll have to see going forward. But yeah, that's. I feel like eventually we're gonna get some sort of confession where either Takage or Nishikata says that they like each other or something like that. But for now, this is like the closest confession we've gotten between the two. The fact that Takage essentially said to Nishikata, you are my one and only Prince Charming ever since we first met. Like, dog. That's essentially a confession right there. And if my boy Nishikata can't realize that, then my God, you really are a dull idiot. But seemingly enough, it seems like our boy's putting the pieces together, and stuff like that. So I'm definitely gonna be interested for next week's episode to see how our boy's gonna be feeling, if he's gonna be like, I don't know how to feel about her, you know, because we know from last week he said when he was around her, his heart started beating rapidly and everything and stuff like that. You know, it's funny as all get up and stuff like that. So yes, I enjoyed this episode. I said last week was my favorite episode. This week is my favorite episode of the season already. Oh my God, the fact we got a confession, I'm good. I'll take it. I love my confessions. So yes, but this is a great episode, wonderful episode, and I can't wait to see more of Teasing Master Takage-san. They're really diving into this romance angle, and I love it. But if you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's episode of Teasing Master Takage-san, as well as hit that subscribe button to get more content on the channel and stuff like that. Again, put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's episode and stuff like that. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there, and hopefully you guys are having a great rest of your day or night, which on this video. Till then, guys, stay safe out there. Peace.